In a world driven by music, movies, and television, two brave, unqualified podcasters take you on a voyage for entertainment of today, tomorrow, and yesteryear. Savo, music enthusiast, wrestling mark, and all-around pretty cool dude. Stubby, music and television Svengali savant. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the Savo and Stubby Show. What is up, fellow channel surfers? Do not touch that dial. You are tuned into the Savo and Stubby Show. Welcome to another edition of the Savo and Stubby Show. I am your host, the host with the most. No, not. It's Stubby. And of course, I am joined by my colleague, my co-host, the man on the marquee, goes by the name of Savo. How you doing, Savo?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, dude? I am so wired right now, it's not even funny.
What happened?
I decided today that I was going to jump back into energy drinks, and I guess Rockstar has a new energy drink that is supposed to be like 2 times the caffeine. And I figured because it's diet and because there's no carbs, that it wouldn't be that bad for me. 300 milligrams of caffeine, I'm telling you, dude, I'm on diet crack right now.
Are you like, I'm out there and I'm loving every minute of it. It's like Kramer.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because about halfway through this podcast, I'm pretty sure I'm going to crash. Talking about crashing, dude, I hear that you went to see Halestorm last night in San Francisco at the Warfield. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. It was a opening band by the name of the New Year's Day, which I'd never heard of, which were actually pretty cool. Also, in this moment. And then Halestorm, and it was each band had a female singer, so the Me Too movement is strong in San Francisco, the women's rights movement. Anyway, it was pretty fucking rocking, man. I was kind of pretty impressed actually, because thing about in this moment, it was like, damn, there was so much to take in. They had like a theatrical thing going on. They had the heaviness going on. They had backup dancer people. It was just like, damn. It's just, like I said, just so much going on. I totally want to check out some more of their stuff because I wasn't really familiar with them. But I basically went for Halestorm, and they put on a great show too.
That's pretty cool. I've never actually been to the Warfield. Is that kind of like an arena type thing, or is it more like a theater venue type setup?
It's an older theater, yeah, like an opera type theater place.
There was a band that you introduced to me a long time back. It was an all-female band, like during the 90s. I can't remember the name right now. I'm pretty sure if I just that mention alone, you should know who it is.
Was it like grunge?
I think so.
Was it Drain STH?
There it is. That's it. Yeah. So has it evolved since that time period, or would you say it's pretty much on the same lines?
It's evolved. Well, I mean, the bands are totally different. Where you had the grunge scene, and now you have, well, if you're comparing it to like in this moment, it's like grunge scene was kind of depressing, vibe, but still had that rockin' feel to it. But like in this moment, it has that rockin' feel to it, but it's also like an angry feel, not like a depressing feel. So if you're not in the mood to listen to it, you probably shouldn't listen to it because you'll probably get the wrong vibe from it. But if you want to like rock out, that'd be a good choice.
Now, it's going to sound kind of sexist, but would you consider In This Moment and Halestorm on the same level as some of the bands today, if not exceeding them?
I don't know enough about In This Moment, so regarding Halestorm, yeah, totally.
And that's is that Lizzie Hale or Izzy Hale?
Izzy Hale. Wait, Izzy Hale, I believe. Yeah.
Well, when I looked it up, it looked like the letter L Z Z Y. So I wasn't sure if she was just being lazy and left the I out, or trying to be different, or if it's actually
No, I think it's like okay. There's Lizzie Borden, so I think it's Izzy Hale.
is Lizzie Borden related to Steve Borden, aka Sting?
No,
Because
definitely not.
that's not a very very common last name. I mean, I don't know anybody with the last name Borden other than those two people.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean,
Well, who knows? It could be.
yeah, I mean, with that said, you would think the guy that makes that barbecue sauce and seasonings and stuff, Stubbs, would be my uncle.
Oh, right.
But we kind of have a complexion issue there, so I don't know if that's exactly the case.
The pigmentation's a little different.
There you go. So I hear that Halestorm just released an album on July 27th. It's a 12-track LP from Atlantic Records, and I'm guessing from what I'm reading, because it's kind of hit and miss on the internet, this is their fourth full release album. Oh, you have it.
That's correct.
Now you've had a chance, obviously, to listen to the whole album, right?
Yes.
You didn't make the mistake of listening to the whole album while you were driving to the Warfield, did you?
Why is that a mistake?
Well, because sometimes it takes people out of the moment. It's kind of like when you hear a song over and over again. Me personally, I like it.
Growing up, going to concerts, that's all we did was listen to that band only.
I mean, it makes sense because you want to get in the. I mean, no pun intended. You want to be in the moment for whenever that band performs.
Well, it's also the feeling of like, are they going to play this song? Are they going to, it's like, it's just the anticipation part. What songs are they going to play? And, especially if they have a lot of albums, you want to go back and, oh, this one's cool. I hope they play it and so. But yeah, the album is really good. The first time I listened to it 3 times in a row, like nonstop. And I really like it. It's just as good as their other ones. And I've always liked Halestorm. But
that's kind of how you were. That's kind of how you were with 6 a.m. too, wasn't it? When you first got the album.
Yeah, but also 6 a.m. is one of my son's favorite albums. So that's why it's in my car to this day, since 2007.
I have to say, it's pretty good taste. George knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he likes that one, that's for sure. The first one is their best, in my opinion.
So, out of the 3 performances, who do you think was the one that actually stood out? I mean, was Halestorm worthy of the headliner in this instance?
I think so, yes. It's just in this moment was just so. From what you're seeing, it's like, holy shit, what's going on here? But musically, I like Halestorm better.
You've been to many concerts before, so I mean, did they do a pretty good lineup to where all 3 bands kind of went with one another, or was it kind of offsetting to have one?
No, they all were along the same lines. Yeah, it was really good.
Did you happen to pick up the other 2 artists' CDs after the show?
No.
So, out of that CD, what song would you recommend for fans to listen to kind of get a feeling for the album?
Well, my favorite song off the album is Black Vultures, but they do have is it 1 or 2 singles? I'm not sure what they have out right now, but Uncomfortable I know was out as a single, and I think there might be another one, Do Not Disturb. But yeah, my favorite out of the 12 tracks is Black Vultures.
It's funny you say that. It's almost like we choreographed it and whatnot, but I have that song, that version, or the actual song, for the fans to listen to, so I'm going to line that up real quick, and then we'll talk more about it whenever we come back from the song.
Sounds good. I'd love to hear it again.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you actually like the track. Me personally, I am now a fan. I mean, I was a fan of Halestorm before this, but this has kind of motivated me to want to download the songs now.
Yeah, it's definitely got an intensity to it, hard rock and edge to it. She's got a great voice. I mean, just to hear her or the band live, it's basically like you're playing the disc, you know? It's pretty damn identical. And no, it's not lip syncing, but it rocks.
There's only a few artists out there that can do that too. I've noticed.
Exactly.
Chester from Linkin Park was one of those guys.
Queensrÿche was always like that. They had that Jeff Tate with that 5-octave range, vocal range, and it's like what you hear on CD is what you hear live in concert.
You're going to have to lead me in some directions to some good Queensrÿche songs, because I picked up Guitar Hero last week just to play it again, because I have it just sitting on the shelf right now. And I was going through the track listings, and they have Queensrÿche Eye of a Stranger, and that's a pretty damn good song.
Oh, that whole album, it's a concept album. So every song is part of a storyline, the same storyline. And that one, I mean, I was introduced to them from the beginning in 1982 or 3 or so. But Operation Mindcrime came out, I think it was 1988 maybe. And yeah, I've been a fan, like I said, from the beginning, but Operation Mindcrime was on a whole different level.
I like concept.
Really cool stuff.
I like concept artists and concept albums. System of a Down is another one of those bands where the album itself is not a concept, but the style that they perform, which is pretty damn awesome. To have that switch up between, you know, it almost sounds operatic, like opera style, and then it goes into some screaming and some
and fast guitars, and yeah. Definitely a cool band to check out, but they're not together at this moment. But yeah, they're cool.
So before you jump into your next segment, are there any other concerts that you have lined up?
Yeah, as of right now, all I have is Ozzy Osbourne and Stone Sour. It's supposed to be, what is it called? The No More Tours tour, in reference to No More Tears, his hit that he had a while back. But you know, Ozzy, he's been known to say he's going to retire and then comes back. So we'll see. But yeah, it should be a good one. I like Stone Sour too. So that'll be a great show.
Wasn't that how Kiss was too? Where they retired a couple times, or were going to retire a couple times, or this was going to be the last tour?
No, I don't think it was with Kiss. No, I don't think so. It was I don't know. All I can think of right now is Ozzy doing it.
Oh, okay. So, what do you got for the fans this week?
Well, today, August 24th, 1975, Queen started working on Bohemian Rhapsody in Monmouth, Wales. That was, 43 years ago, man. Surprisingly, it almost didn't make it as a single because the record execs didn't understand it. I mean, it is a pretty complex song, but I guess they slipped a copy of it to some DJ, Kenny Everett, and he played it like 14 times over one weekend, and it caught on, and it, you know, obviously it made it to the album, and they had some success with it then. But then, what was it, 92, I guess, Wayne's World, they had that song featured in the movie, and it started all over again. Great song, by the way.
It's funny you bring up Wayne's World because they just hit their 26-year anniversary just recently.
Wow, 26 years. Were you into Wayne's World?
I was into Mike Myers. I mean, I liked him on Saturday Night Live, and that's where, you know, obviously Dana Carvey. And to me, in my opinion, that kind of jump-started his movie roles. I mean, you had him in Austin Powers. You had him, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
And then he, of course, did the voice for Shrek.
That's right, yeah.
And
that was definitely his start, yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of those voices, too, that just, I mean, he's obviously known for more of his Scottish accent, but he's got one of those voices that's distinguishable no matter what, or indistinguishable.
Right. Also, back in July 20th of 1968, That's a long freaking time ago. I wasn't even born. Iron Butterfly became the first heavy metal song in Gata de Vida to hit the charts at number 117. You know that song?
I think so. Is that the Anaconda Davida thing?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Yeah,
Check your Wi-Fi.
not Anaconda though.
No, Anagata.
Yeah,
Did I say Anaconda?
in Gata de Vida or
There
something
you go.
like that.
Something like that. Hey, you were talking about Queen. It's funny that songs like that almost didn't make it. I think Michael Jackson had a song where he liked it, but the record executives weren't too fond of it, and I think it ended up being Thriller or Billie Jean, one of the two, and here it is, one of the pop
Probably
icons.
Billie Jean.
Yeah, and here it is, one of those pop icon songs that, would not have been part of history if it wasn't for it just getting into the right hands.
Right, exactly. Also, January 20th, 1982, for all you metalheads out there, Ozzy Osbourne bites the head off a bat in Des Moines, Iowa.
Wow,
On stage.
36 years ago, and I know that because I was born January of 82.
You remember it, huh?
Yeah, and while I was in the womb, I was flabbergasted.
He came out and said, Ozzy! You know the story behind that, right?
No, please tell.
Well, they were on stage, doing a concert, and somebody threw a bat on stage.
Who carries a bat? Who carries a bat to a concert?
Right, exactly. So Ozzy, thinking it was fake, just to fuck with people, bit the head off. But it was real. So he had to get rabies shots and all that, and it was just like, yeah, back then, I mean, even if you did it today, it'd be pretty crazy, but back then it was like, what the fuck?
I gotta tell you, though, you gotta be on some really good shit to not know the difference between a fake bat and a real bat. I don't care how good the special effects are in movies today. It's very distinguishable, a real bat and a fake bat.
Well, we all know how Ozzy was at the time with dealing with his demons, which overtook him, we'll say. But yeah, that's true.
I mean, we all had those Halloween decorations of those rubber bats. I mean, they're very, very obvious. I'm kind of curious to know what Ozzy's response was, how far he got into the bat before he realized it was a real bat, and did he continue performing after the case?
I'm sure he was fucked up, so he probably didn't care at the time.
Because I know on an episode of The Family Guy, they made fun of it, where he's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm not going to even attempt to slaughter an impersonation of Ozzy. But, oh, that's real professional. Real professional.
Thank you.
You got to put your phone on silent. So is that all you got for the music history for this week?
One more. I got July 30th, 1991. Metallica releases Enter Sandman, which would change the hard rock metal scene as we know it. The album would be released on August 12th. Their fifth album, which is entitled Metallica, otherwise known as the Black Album, debuts on the Billboard at number 1, and the rest is freaking history. It started a whole new wave. Legendary album. Your thoughts?
Now, before that album, were they really mainstream at that point? I mean,
No, not at all.
So this is really what kind of projected them to the next level, the next tier?
Correct. This is what got them to where they are today.
Would you say that they've been able to maintain that same level since that album?
The last couple of releases I really enjoyed. The ones after the Black Album, like Load and Reload, they had some good stuff to it, but it seemed to just go a more commercial route. But again, it sold, so who am I to say what's good?
And so you brought that up last week, asking if I think you were asking if I thought Metallica was overrated. And I don't want to be that guy because I mean, other than their commercial hits, I really don't know anything of Metallica. And again, why would you want to listen to this podcast if, the host doesn't know shit about movies or music, right? Or at least good tasting music and movies.
Well, everybody's got their own, choices, opinions, blah, blah, blah. So it's all good.
But, I mean, you look at it, too, there have been a lot of bands that have kind of emulated that style of Metallica and have made a name for themselves since then. I mean, a lot of people compare Avenged Sevenfold to, like, a modern-day version of Metallica. Would you say that's fair, or would you say completely off base?
I see the resemblance, the connection, yeah. Totally. I'm probably going to get shit for this, but personally, I like Megadeth better. Why? I just love it's different, there's something different about Megadeth, whether it's his voice or whether it's just the lyrically or just the weirdness of it, I guess, maybe. Not weird, but I mean, like, to me, Chili Peppers are weird, but Megadeth takes it a whole different direction, but I like Megadeth better.
Chili Peppers is one of those bands that's kind of like what we were talking about last week, where if they got one song that you like, I mean, half the album's going to be like that, but there have been some pretty shitty songs on at least, there's at least a handful of shitty songs on every one of their albums. It's definitely acquired taste.
Yeah, they definitely have quite the following, though. That's the thing. Seems like everybody loves Chili Peppers, and I like them.
You kind of have no choice when that's all they play on the radio these days.
Yeah, they do play a lot sometimes.
But while we're on the topic of history, I thought maybe I'd take you back a handful of years and talk about some of the movies that are hitting their anniversaries this year in 2018, jumping from 10-year, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40-year anniversaries.
Wow, let's hear it.
All right, so let's see what we got. Can you believe that the movie Step Brothers is already hit its 10-year anniversary?
Wow. Actually, yeah, that seems about right, about 10 years. Yeah, that one, yeah, I see that.
And I know everyone's already familiar with this movie, but Step Brothers came out on July 25th, 2008, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, directed by Adam McKay. And prior to that, I really didn't know much about John C. Reilly. Did he stand out to you?
He's been in other movies, but he's always been, like, not the lead guy. But, yeah, he didn't stand out before that.
He's tethered to a lot of Will Ferrell movies. I mean, you look at Talladega Nights. I'm sure there are a couple other. For some reason, I can't think of any other. But just like Adam Sandler, kind of keep your friends close, right?
Right, exactly. Well, they had good chemistry together, though, so that's cool.
Coming up on October 15th, we hit the 15-year anniversary for Mystic River. This would be one of many Clint Eastwood-directed films. I mean, people are familiar with Million Dollar Baby, Gran Torino.
I love that one.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood, obviously made it. He's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Western movies.
Yeah.
And I have to say, he struck gold with this movie. This movie starring Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Kevin Bacon. Definitely one of those twist and turns, didn't see that coming type movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, so I probably need to refresh myself with it, but I do remember it somewhat, and it was pretty good. It was really good, yeah.
You'll be happy to hear this one. Coming up on 20 years, or just hitting 20 years, on July 15th, 1998, a certain movie filmed by the Farrelly brothers, There's Something About Mary, starring Cameron Diaz, Ben Stiller, Matt Dillon, among some other names like Marky Post. Marky Post.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. There you go. Favre.
Are you eating my wiener?
And that was one of those movies that kind of set the scene for its era in the 90s, kind of like the way Animal House did for, what, now the 70s, 80s?
Jeez, what was that, like 78, 79 maybe?
Sounds about right, because I believe it was on my list for 40-year anniversary, and I just didn't touch on it. We also had another one of your favorites, produced by Frank Goraki, The Wedding Singer, starring Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. This film was released on February 13th, 1998.
I wouldn't go out and say it was one of my favorites, but it's my favorite Adam Sandler movie.
That's what I meant. Obviously, it's not one of your favorite
Right.
movies. If it was, I would have to question your movie selection.
It was good, though. I liked it.
And then another big culture icon movie that you are yet to see, or you started to watch, and you said you got about halfway through it. The Big Lebowski hits its 20-year birthday.
Wow.
March 6, 1998, the Coen brothers released The Big Lebowski starring Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, and Julianne Moore. God damn, dude. She still looks good after all these years.
I know, huh?
She's one of those people that doesn't age. I mean, she looks the same
Right.
as she did in... shit. Was she in Hannibal?
In The Big Lebowski. Yeah, she was in... I guess it was Hannibal, yeah.
I mean,
She replaced Jodie Foster, right?
Oh, that's right. Part 2, right?
Hello, Clarice.
This was, I mean, she's a spokesperson for makeup now, and whatever makeup she's using, it's working. Because between her, Denzel, and Cher, they don't age.
I know, right?
All right, so this one's going to take you back a little bit, but, I mean, I talked to you off air. You really weren't too familiar with this one. But a film directed by David McKay Evans, The Sandlot. Another one of those obscure pop culture movies that, at the time, and even to this day, none of these actors really made it, but it was a cultural phenomenon for pop culture today, I guess you can say. Tom Geary, who plays Smalls, Mike Vitar, who plays Benny, and Patrick Renna, who plays Ham. He's the famous actor, or the actor that made that line, "You're killing me, Smalls," very popular.
Right.
So, I mean, April 7th, 1993. It takes you back a few years. 25 to be exact. So, a movie that a lot of parodies and comedy movies and a lot of cartoons. Family Guy's most famous for this. Andrew Davis produced a film, The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, and Julianne Moore. Man, she was popular during this era. August 6, 1993. What can you tell me about the movie?
I like it. I like it a lot. Every time I see it still, on TV, I end up tuning in. Harrison Ford. I probably got my first introduction to Harrison Ford probably from Star Wars, but I don't know. I always thought he was a good actor. I do like this movie. Who else is in it? You go back and look, and you'll see like there's a lot of people in the police department that are now kind of popular actors that weren't back then. I can't think of their names right now. My bad, but you'll see what I mean if you watch it. Have you seen it?
I think I've caught parts of it when I was younger, but it wasn't one of those movies that kind of drew me in. I mean, I want to kind of go back now and watch it. It's funny when you go back and watch older movies like that. At the time, there are a lot of no-name actors who you fast forward now and you're like, holy shit, I didn't know they were in that.
Right. There's like a couple guys on the police, that are cops, the detectives or whatever, and it's just like, oh shit, that's so and so. I think it's the guy from The Sopranos, Ralph, the guy who had a wig on, a toupee. Yeah. That him and Tony got into it. But anyway, yeah, it was a really good movie. It's actually a remake, right?
No.
Yeah, that was a remake. That was like an older show from, I don't know, the 60s or something like that.
So we're going to jump forward or backwards, however you want to look at this, 5 more years, 30-year anniversary for the movie Beetlejuice. And this shocked me that you have not seen the movie.
Yeah, it just seemed kind of weird, like stupid weird, and just didn't really interest me. I know, probably my ignorance in not checking it out, but just wasn't feeling it. It's just like, not that it's one of the movies you mentioned, but it's just like The Goonies. I never saw that until like 2 years ago.
That just hit its anniversary, so I believe it's 25 years for that one.
Oh, is it?
Possibly 30. I can't recall exactly, but on March 30th, 1988, Tim Burton released Beetlejuice starring Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, obviously. And Tim Burton, I mean, at this point, I think this was one of his first movies. But you can watch a movie these days and kind of tell that it's a Tim Burton movie. And a lot of times,
it's got that little twisted side to it.
Right, and another telltale is pretty much anything that Johnny Depp stars in is probably a Tim Burton movie. I mean, You look at Edward Scissorhands. I believe he was a producer on the Pirates of the Caribbean. I could be wrong. But Tim Burton also has a music preference that he likes to play, and he hired the likes of Danny Elfman, the one that did the theme song for The Simpsons. So, I mean, if you listen to a weird style music in a movie, pretty good chances it's Danny Elfman. He has a specific style he likes to use.
All right. I'll keep that in mind next time I check out one of his movies.
Also looking back 30 years, Coming to America, starring Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy, and a very obscure actor at the time that a lot of people didn't know that he was in this movie, but Samuel L. Jackson's in this movie.
Is he really? Oh, wait. Is he one of the bad guys that robs him or something?
Yeah, he robs the McDougal's or whatever the name of the restaurant is. Yeah. This film was produced or directed by John Landis. And I was going to ask you, is this the same Jonathan Landis that was in Little House on the Prairie?
Oh, I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, Arsenio Hall didn't star in a lot of movies after that point. But Eddie Murphy, it's funny, during this era, there were a lot of Saturday Night Live alumni that were really making a scene in the movies in the 80s and 90s.
Totally.
One that I have, in fact, seen and absolutely love to this day was also 30 years ago on December 16th, 1988. Rain Man came out.
Wow. Really?
A Barry Levinson film starring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise.
Wow. That was a good one. I liked it.
This is another one of those movies that to this day still holds its value and can still hit you in the feels.
Yeah. Pretty good movie, yeah.
Okay, now you want to really feel old? We're gonna jump another 5 years, looking at Scarface. Scarface, a film directed by Brian De Palma. This movie came out December 9th, 1983, 1 year after I was born. Or sorry, 1 year after I was born. Starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep.
And it's funny because if you watch MTV Cribs or you talk to any athlete or any rap star or anybody in the thuggish entertainment field, Scarface is one of their favorite movies.
Without Scarface, there'd be no Razor Ramon.
There you go. Say hello to my little friend.
Have you seen it?
I have. I've actually seen it a couple times.
I was expecting you to say no.
No, that's not one of those movies that you can pass up.
You passed up on The Godfather.
I did, and I.
That's not one of those movies you can pass up.
I might have to actually go back and check that out. Another movie that came out during this period, another directed by John Landis, which looking at this, I'm thinking John Landis has a favoritism toward this actor, but Trading Places came out June 8th, 1983, starring Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
That one, I love that. That's a good one. Yeah, I love that one.
That's your classic rags to riches, switching places kind of. Hollywood's kind of done that a few times since then.
Is it Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, and Jamie Lee Curtis?
That sounds very correct. Jamie Lee Curtis, which was not really a well-known actress at that point, but her most notable role was in Halloween.
Right. It's funny. I remember they're trying to train Eddie Murphy because they're doing like stocks, stock trading, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, the old guy, Winthorpe, it says, or they're trading commodities, or like bacon, which you might find in a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. And they show Eddie Murphy, and he's like looking at him with his eyebrows raised, like, what the fuck? It's just funny. You got to see it if you haven't seen it.
Can you remember where you were the first time you seen this movie?
No, not really. Probably. I mean, I was probably just a kid. Yeah, probably my mom's in my parents' place.
It's pretty cool to look back at some of these movies because just like I mentioned, there's always a movie, a song, or a TV show that kind of brings you back to a better place in time, a time that
Right.
a childhood memory that really stands out.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we're going to jump 5 more years, and this is the last of the series. You're going to feel like remembering kindergarten at this point and some of your younger years. Actually, I don't know how old you were at this point. 40 years ago, on June 16th, 1978, Randall Kleiser introduced the world to the movie called Grease, starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. This movie was adapted so many different versions of Broadway plays, movies that have kind of adapted a similar theme. What can you remember about Grease personally?
Well, I would have been around 8 years old. I remember it was the movie of that time frame, that era. It had innocence. It had like the loss of innocence. It had a little bit of you shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff, and it had sexiness. It had everything. I mean, it was a classic. It is a classic. I haven't seen it in years, and nowadays I'm not really into musicals, but I do think Grease would be one of the best musicals.
It's funny because you look at movies like Grease, that inspired me to see movies like Hairspray and Little Shop of Horrors, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I get it, they're all kind of like different variations of musicals to this day. But it kind of opened up the genre for people, and it kind of set the precedent of what this style of movie is to be like, to be successful.
Sandy was hot.
All right, so
But yeah, the three musicals you just mentioned, I know I definitely didn't see 2 of them, but the third one, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I saw parts of it, but I didn't see the whole thing.
All right, I apologize. We had to stop the podcast temporarily. We had a visitor to the show, and so we were talking about Olivia Newton-John, a.k.a. Sandy, and how hot you thought she was. And I was going to transition from the silver screen to the home small screen, I guess you can call it, television. And looking at some of the TV shows that hit their anniversaries this year, it's not too surprising that it's already been 10 years because a lot of these shows were on the air for about 6 to 8 years. But were you aware that Breaking Bad hit its 10-year anniversary on January 20th, 2008? Or sorry.
Actually, yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, about 10 years. Yeah.
Vince Gilligan, man, that guy knew how to write, and still to this day knows how to write with Better Call Saul.
Well, he had a lot of time to do that on the island.
I see where you went. Do you think his co-director or co-writer was the captain?
Skipper.
Wow. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
No.
That is like one of the biggest pop culture TV like icon things, and I fluffed the name.
That's what makes it funny.
Well, I might just have to do a voiceover and say, yeah. But this was Bryan Cranston, who was better known at the time from Malcolm in the Middle as the dad. And it's funny to see him go from that role as kind of like a goofy father to such a serious role in Breaking Bad.
He was also the dentist in Seinfeld.
That's right. Now that you said that, I do. I mean, that was more of an obscure reference, unless you're a huge Seinfeld fan.
Bingo.
Isn't that the same dentist that Kramer got his license plate?
No. That's the ass man.
Oh, that is the ass man. My bad. Oh, that was the.
That was the dentist that would drug Jerry up and fondle the dental hygienist or whatever. And when Jerry comes to, they're like buttoning up their shirt and stuff.
That's right. I remember now. That's what I like about having you as a co-host, is that you trigger these memories. That show had so many great episodes. It's kind of hard to pinpoint certain things.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul, who played the cook, Jesse, Captain Cook, Jesse Pinkman, is now in a cartoon, BoJack Horseman. There were talks that Vince Gilligan wanted to bring back. You know, I'm starting to wonder if it's Vince Gillian. I might be saying the last name wrong, which would make it even funnier. The fact that you brought up the skipper and Gillian. But Breaking Bad, I believe it was on for, I want to say 8 seasons. So we've only had 2 years with no Breaking Bad.
No. I don't know. If you say so.
But what's great about his writing style, he was able to do a spin-off show with Better Call Saul, which ties in the characters from Breaking Bad and gives you kind of like a precursor of how the show became.
Have you been watching Better Call Saul?
No, because at one point I think they took a long hiatus, and I don't remember where I left off. So now I have to take up the Fire Stick. And the last scene I saw was when the female lawyer got into the car accident, and all the documents went everywhere.
Well, I've been watching it. I'm a couple episodes behind, whatever, maybe 3 or 4, whatever. I don't know, but I've noticed this season they're starting to introduce what's his name, Gus, the what the hell's the restaurant called? The chicken place. Oh, brain fart.
Los Pollos Hermanos?
Yes. So that guy, Gus, the big time druggy guy, he's in it. Or he's become, they're showing him now, and they're showing the old guy that rings the bell.
Oh yeah.
I can't. I'm drawing a blank on the name. But yeah, so they're starting to incorporate all those guys into Better Call Saul now. So it should be a pretty good season, I think.
Was his last name Salazar or something like that? I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Gustavo something. I don't know.
There you go.
I can't remember right now.
I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I mean, great show. I highly recommend it. If you haven't already seen it, obviously the spoilers are out there. And there are a lot of other great actors that have since gone on to be in other films and other TV shows. Another one that hits its 10-year anniversary, I never got into it, and I know my girlfriend is a huge fan of the show. Sons of Anarchy hits its 10-year anniversary. Yeah, September 3rd, 2008 was its debut. It'll hit its 10-year on that date, obviously. This was written by Kurt Sutter.
Sutter?
Yeah.
They're also doing a spin-off from that called The Mayans, which is going to be the Mexican biker gang, whatever.
Right.
Sorry, Hispanic biker gang. And it's going to be starting up soon, so that should be probably along the same lines. It seemed interesting. I've seen some previews for it. I'll probably be watching it.
Well, what's great about these is when you have a show that has such depth in character and storyline, you got so much material that a director or a writer can actually feed off of to do a precursor. That's why I think Better Call Saul was such a success.
Yeah.
A lot of or at least 2 names that I can stand out from this was Ron Perlman and Katie Sagal. Katie Sagal, best known for Married to Children, and then Ron Perlman, best known for Hellboy.
Right.
We were just referencing that guy last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one that hits its 10-year anniversary, which I never got behind. Another one that my girlfriend was a fan of. True Blood on HBO, starring Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer. September 7th, 2008. So it hits its 10-year coming up next week, or 2 weeks from now.
Is that like a vampire type show?
Yeah, and I think it hit HBO simply because it was very graphic when it came to its sexual scenes and its content. Which, ironically, there were rumors that HBO passed on The Walking Dead because they thought the premise was too graphic. And here they are now shooting movies or shows like Game of Thrones and Dexter, of all things.
Yeah.
This was written by Alan Ball. And I'm guessing Alan Ball was a pretty big writer for HBO because another show that was fond to both you and I, 6 Feet Under, at this day, on August 21st, 2008, 6 Feet Under had its last episode. It debuted on June 3rd, 2001, so it had a decent run. It had 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah, that was a good show. I love that one.
It had an all-star cast. At the time, they weren't really that known, but Peter Krause, best known current day for Stranger Things. He's the police chief.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's also in 911.
Hold on, your audio's cutting out. So 911's not a show that I'm too familiar with. What is the premise for 911?
He's like when you have an emergency and you call 911, he's the guy that responds.
Wow. Really?
No, it's a good show. It's realistic, and I like realism in my stuff. So, I've actually kind of always followed him since 6 Feet Under. He went on from 6 Feet Under to be in Parenthood, and then now he's doing this. So I don't know. I like him. He just seems like a good guy. The roles he plays. Worth watching. It's got, it's 911. It's got this level of excitement. It's got all kinds of stuff like that. Things you would call 911. Well, he's going to show up.
Is that a show that's on Fox?
Good question. I'm not sure if it's on Fox or not, but yeah, it's a regular TV channel.
It's funny, now that I look at him, I think I had him confused with somebody else. He's in fact not in Stranger Things. I'm guessing
you thought it was the guy. You thought it was the guy on. What's it called? Move on. I can't remember.
In all fairness, it's kind of a doppelganger. I could be completely off base, but I was definitely confused for a moment. Another star that stands out on the show was Michael C. Hall. For those that are not familiar with 6 Feet Under, he was best known for his role in the show Dexter, another HBO. Oh, actually, that was a Showtime, wasn't it?
Dexter was HBO, yeah. Now I know the movie I was talking about, Raising Hope.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
You thought it was him, right?
Yeah, I was way off.
That's the guy I mean.
Yeah, I think I'm way off base then.
But no, they actually, in your defense, they do look similar.
So that would cover it, honestly, in both movies and music, or movies and television. And we've already heard your take on this time in history for music. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap the show up?
Yeah, since we discussed music and movies, what's your top 5 albums and your top 5 movies?
Top 5 albums. That's a hard one because I kind of jump between albums. I'm not really one of those that listens to an album all the way through. And then movies is too obscure, man. You gotta pick a genre. I mean, there are too many good movies, and I wouldn't do them justice by just picking 5 random movies.
Just off the top of your head, anything.
See, that's too hard of a question, man, because there's so many genres out there, and off the top of my head, I mean, I can say movies like The King. I can say movies like, in my opinion, Gone in 60 Seconds, even though that's nowhere near some of the top tier movies. So, I mean, not narrowing it down, I honestly don't even know how to ballpark that.
Well, I had time to think about it, so I got my top 5. And they're all mixed, so I'm going with Scarface.
Okay.
I'm going with Something About Mary.
Okay.
This one might not really be my one of my tops, but I really like it. It's hella funny. Good Luck, Chuck. You
Wow,
seen that one?
that's horrible.
It's hella funny. I think it's funny as hell.
That was
Uh,
that was the comedian Dane Cook, right?
yeah, exactly. Again, it's probably not one of my favorite ones, but I do like it a lot. The Sixth Sense
Okay.
and Deadpool.
See, with Sixth Sense, that was great because that was. I mean, it wasn't his debut because he did a lot of short films before that. But M. Night Shyamalan kind of set the precedence of what a complete turn in a movie would be, a plot twist.
He was like the Vince Russo of movies.
Right. I mean, he was known for telling a good story, but having a weird ending to it. I mean, he had movies like Lady in the Water, The Village. What was the other ones? There was The Happening. All these movies look good in the trailers, but when you finally got, or Signs is another one. When you
Signs was good.
right, when you got to the end of the movie, it kind of was like, really, that's it. I mean, there was there was a movie with the split personalities too, Split, which is another good one that he did, but it's just the endings were too far out there.
I didn't see Split, so I don't know that one. But The Village I did see, and yeah, I didn't care for that one.
See, another one that I mean, I think you can agree this was a good movie, Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That is the precursor, or sorry, the lead into Split. So we're gonna see a new movie starring the lead actor in Split and Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson doing a comic book superhero style. I guess you can call it a trilogy at this point.
Mm. Cool.
I think it'd be more fair for you to ask me who are my favorite directors than it would be who are my favorite movies. Because
Okay, who are your favorite directors?
okay, maybe I wasn't ready for that. M. Night Shyamalan's one of those. Just because of the fact that he knows how to draw you into a story and then completely throw you off base at the end. Like in the movie Signs, the whole time the water was the premise of the movie, along with the baseball bat. What else you got?
Well, this is going to be another hard one for you, I guess. But your top 5 albums.
Yeah, see that one. That's more your category. When it comes to music, I'm in that generation now. I guess the millennial generation where you don't really listen to albums. You kind of put it on shuffle and just listen to whatever's in your playlist.
Okay, how about this? What's your top 5 downloads?
Are we talking about legitimate downloads, like pay to listen to, or are we talking like just LimeWire, Napster, YouTube?
Well, first of all, not porno, but music ones, like iTunes type, that kind of downloads.
See, I haven't paid for a song in many, 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 many moons.
Oh man, you're making this hard, dude.
I think maybe in post or in production meetings next time we should kind of go over the things. I told you to let's freestyle it, and I'll just kind of go with it. But man, you really put me on the spot. There's a reason why you do the music section and I do the movies and television.
Right? Exactly. I get that. Would you like to know mine?
Can I take a guess at one of yours?
Sure. You can take a guess at any of them.
I'm going to take a guess that Queensryche falls in one of those categories.
Yep. Operation Mindcrime.
I'm going to take a guess that, say, and this could be completely wrong, I'm going to say Dream Theater is also on that list. I'm going to say
no.
Megadeth's on there.
No.
I know for a fact Judas Priest is on there.
Yep, Hellbent for Leather. Who was your first concert?
That's a good one too. I would have to say that I can remember.
No. That's one of mine on my list. Who was our first concert?
Oh, I would say AC/DC.
There you go. Let There Be Rock. Another two left that I have is Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast. And this might come as a shock to some, but
Justin
Temple
Bieber?
of the Dog. Temple of the Dog.
That was a good album altogether, all around. I mean,
Yeah, every song on there is like awesome.
I mean, okay, if we're gonna do that, then I would say one of my favorite albums, just because I have it on repeat whenever I listen to it, was Audio Slave, Like a Stone.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Audio Slave didn't get such a great rap, which I don't understand. I mean, look at Chris Cornell mixed in with Rage Against the Machine. Maybe it was the style of music, but I'm one of those guys that kind of likes the that guitar style, that music style, that Rage.
I actually liked Audio Slave more than I think. I mean, they only had like two albums, but if you compare those two albums to two albums of Soundgarden, I think I like Audio Slave better, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a song on that album that wasn't good.
Right.
I mean, I believe the first song was Cochise, and from Cochise
Yeah.
all the way to a hit after another hit.
Right. Great show.
Ironically, another one of my favorite CDs, albums, I guess you'd call it, back in your day, LPs, would be a band called 12 Stones. They're a Christian rock band, and for those that know me, would be surprised that I was listening to Christian music at the time. But it's a pretty good album across the board on that one, too.
What was the name of the band again?
12 Stones?
I don't think I've heard of them, but I can check them out.
That was a mixture of kind of like that grunge meets, I wouldn't say pop rock, it was more of like a...
Kind of like Creed, maybe?
No, it was more like a Fuel or Bush style music.
Huh. Sounds cool. That's all I got for my top 5.
All right, man. Well, I think that's all we got for this week. And television music and movie history. Any last words, Punk?
What? Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to be continuing sometime in the future, next week or whenever, but we're going to be covering some different topics, hopefully, and we'll try to please our fans. Thanks for listening.
I like how you kept it open-ended. We'll have another podcast sometime next week or in the future.
Well, things happen. I don't want to guarantee things, but we're working on it. It's a work in progress.
And we still don't have an outro for the show, do we?
Thanks for listening.
I was going to say, as always, wrestling's real, people are fake, but that's an old show.
Well, it's not that old.
Do we say thanks for tuning in transmission? Or do
sure.
Do we go to the test pattern screen for TVs?
Yeah, exactly.
Hit some white noise. Have like the TV flicker sound, like the TV turning off, or just have some white noise in the background.
Hey, you're at the controls.
All right. Well, Stubby out.
All right. Thanks for listening. Salvo out.
Bye.